This is a day of affirmation, a celebration of liberty. We stand here in the name of freedom. At the heart of that Western freedom and democracy is the belief that the individual man, the child of God, is the touchstone of value, and all society, all groups and states exist for that person's benefit. Therefore, the enlargement of liberty for individual human beings must be the supreme goal and the abiding practice of any Western society. The first element of this individual liberty is the freedom of speech, the right to express and communicate ideas, to set oneself apart from the dumb beasts of field and forest, the right to recall governments to their duties and to their obligations. Above all, the right to affirm one's membership and allegiance to the body politic, to society, to the men with whom we share our land, our heritage, and our children's future. Hand in hand with freedom of speech goes the power to be heard, to share in the decisions of government which shape men's lives. Everything that makes man's life worthwhile, family, work, education, a place to rear one's children, and a place to rest one's head, all this depends on the decisions of government. All can be swept away by a government which does not heed the demands of its people, and I mean all of its people. Therefore, the essential humanity of man can be protected and preserved only where government must answer, not just to the wealthy, not just to those of a particular religion, not just to those of a particular race, but to all of the people. And even government, by the consent of the governed, as in our own Constitution, must be limited in its power to act against its people, so that there may be no interference with the right to worship, but also no interference with the security of the home. No arbitrary imposition of pains or penalties on an ordinary citizen by officials high or low. No restriction on the freedom of men to seek education or to seek work or opportunity of any kind, so that each man may become all that he is capable of becoming. These were the essential differences between us and Nazi Germany, as they were between Athens and Persia. Many nations have set forth their own definitions and declarations of these principles, and there have often been wide and tragic gaps between promise and performance, ideal and reality. Yet the great ideals have constantly recalled us to our own duties, and with painful slowness, we in the United States have extended and enlarged the meaning and the practice of freedom to all of our people. We have passed laws prohibiting discrimination in education, in employment, in housing. But these laws alone cannot overcome the heritage of centuries of broken families and stunted children, and poverty, and degradation, and pain. So the road toward equality of freedom is not easy, and great cost and danger march alongside all of us. We are committed to peaceful and non-violent change, and that is important to all to understand, though change is unsettling. Still, even in the turbulence of protest and struggle, is greater hope for the future, as men learn to claim and achieve for themselves the rights formerly petitioned from others. We must recognize the full human equality of all of our people, before God, before the law, and in the councils of government. We must do this not because it is economically advantageous, although it is, not because the laws of God command it, although they do, not because people in other lands wish it so. We must do it for the single and fundamental reason that it is the right thing to do.
That is Bobby Kennedy Sr., and that's called his Ripple of Hope speech. Ripple of Hope, Bobby Kennedy. And I used to think Bobby was the best of all. I still do in many ways, but as I've listened to John Kennedy's speeches and Teddy lived a long time, so you found out about his foibles, but Teddy had courage. I think all three of these men were great, and I think the rest of the Kennedys too, men and women in the Kennedy family. And I think Joe was a bit of a bastard, I guess, but he made the money and he set the ideals. I don't condone his extramarital behavior, but I've never been married, and I don't know, some people do things that way. And I look back on my life, maybe that would be the way to do it. Have kids, have a wife at home, and then I don't know. I don't want to judge it. But he set the goals and his kids followed it. But Rose Kennedy, I think, was the real beacon of morality and leadership and responsibility in that family. Anyway, I'm 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 a, I'm a fan of the Kennedys. Um, Now I'm using this little computer. Oh, let me check. Darn it! If you have a second, I'll play more of this speech. I have to check something outside. Just hang on. Pam will be.
There is concern that change will submerge the rights of a minority, particularly where that minority is of a different race than that of the majority. We in the United States believe in the protection of minorities. We recognize the contributions that they can make and the leadership that they can provide. And we do not believe that any people, whether majority or minority, or individual human beings, are expendable in the cause of theory or of policy. We recognize also that justice between man and nation is imperfect, and that humanity sometimes progresses very slowly indeed. All do not develop in the same manner and at the same pace. Nations, like men, often march to the beat of different drummers, and the precise solutions of the United States can neither be dictated nor transplanted to others. And that is
What happened to the Democratic Party? I'm expecting a delivery, and problem is in this city they steal deliveries if they sit out too long. But once Ham comes on, I'll go check again. Um, uh, Prices. Let's quickly see. My computer, my Verizon is down for some reason. It probably has something to do, I always find out, with my payment. I paid it last week, but usually when they stop service or interrupt service, that's the first thing. But there's some construction going on, so it could be that. So anyway, I'm using cellular data right now and using this system, so the sound's not going to be as robust. GDC is 558. They did try to sell it down today, and yesterday I misspoke. I said you need to see 10 million shares of volume. I meant to say 100 million. I get all bollocksed up with these big numbers. But I don't expect a lot today in that stock. 1.72 million shares. I really think later today or during this week, you might see action. My understanding is on Twitter, people are calling for much higher numbers. I don't know. It's very speculative. Finger was over $3. All right, here comes Ham. Hello.
Yes, William.
You can talk anytime.
Oh, we're ready to go. All right, everybody. Welcome to this is Fraud 101. Again, we can actually all see what's going on here. And I'll just start out with the old line. If they thought they could win, they'd let the stock go up. The stock was going up, got to 318, and they blasted it back down, selling stock to stop the momentum. I keep telling everybody accumulation is how you win. There's no panic here. There's no sellers. It's just them. At the 265 area, the real short of 1,420,000 shares is now in the red. And you can see how desperate they are not to have that guy come out and start buying the stock. But again, it's just a matter of what day it's going to eventually happen. All right. So again, this, if you just change the symbol from finger motion, make it Tesla, any stock in the world. This is the ultimate traders buying pattern ever. All right. I don't give a shit what stock it is. If you see this pattern, the little spike to 318, pull back like this, and there's no selling, and this is a perfect time to be buying names, whatever name it is. It doesn't have to be this name. You just learned how to see a perfect trading pattern. If I was running money, I'd be all over the fuck over this thing. It's so stupid. This is desperation. The only way this thing is going to end is higher. All right. The short needs to create volatility. Well, guess what, everyone? They cannot create volatility to the upside because that just gives them a margin problem. So they try to create the volatility to the downside. They let it trade at 318, and they want everyone to sit there and say, oh, my God, it traded 318, and now it's trading 252. Oh, my God, look at the difference from the high to the low today. This was a premeditated attack. It's very common. The stock is worth a lot more than where it is. That's my opinion. Benchmark said it's worth 5+. Okay? So, I mean, there's a research report about it, and these guys are still trying to hold it down. The company has rang the bell on the NASDAQ. Was uplisted to the NASDAQ, rang the bell on the NASDAQ, announced 2 new contracts, and still the stock is not going to be able to come up for air. Guess what, people? They said the same thing about GDC, and I know a lot of people that are very happy over the weekend and made a lot of effing money in GDC. And they said the same thing. They're not letting it up. They're not letting it up. And yet they were continuing to buy it, and they bought it, and they made a fortune in it. I'm just going to change the subject for a second on GDC. I bumped into a guy on the street, and he told me he's hearing there's 50 million around to buy in GDC at a prime broker. That's what he's hearing.
Real shares.
Real shares.
Not algorithmic crap. Real shares.
50 million around to buy on the street.
That's unbelievable.
I can't confirm it, but I believe it. This guy's not a tout. He's not here trying to tout a stock. The stock has already had a move to 12. Okay?
So what's the mechanics? It's desk people are calling around the street, seeing if they can organize a block trade at.
You're getting good on this, William. They're looking for sellers. That's how it works on the institutional side. It's just not one guy whispering in the bathroom to another guy.
Right.
Which they do. I'm sure that there are people that are trying to buy stock to front run the 50 million shares to buy. All right. And that guy also thinks the stock is going way higher. So I agree with him. Okay. I just don't know when. But the street talks, and I think that 50 million to buy will light this candle up very, very high. All right. Everyone's seen the volume. You know what it is. So GDC, I just gave you what's going around on the street. People hear about it. And now I go back to finger motion. GDC is obviously a very volatile stock. It's going to go up. It's down. The easy money has been made. So those that have been following us when we reported on it, that was the easy money. Now it becomes more of a casino, but there's also a lot of risk and a lot of rewards still here on GDC. A lot of risk, a lot of rewards.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But that's not what I do anymore, okay? Those are for the big boys to play. Same thing was going on in GameStop, remember? Stock ran to 10, pulled back, up, down. It just didn't go 3 3/4 to 500. It took a lot of steps up, down, to shake people out. All right? People thought about the risk. People thought about the reward. All right? That's the gaming side of Wall Street. I'm looking at finger motion, which has very little risk. I will never say it has no risk. There's always risk, but it has very little risk. There's no real volatility yet. If it ran to $25, I would say, hey, man, now you got volatility. You got to be nervous because now you can be up, down, sideways. It's doing nothing. It's up 10 cents from Friday. It's down $2 from when they rang the bell on the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ has knighted these guys as a good company, that they believe that the company can ring the closing bell, have a big New York City party on it. That's how important it is. But not to Lynn Partners and their friends. They're trapped, they're bagged, they're fucked, and there's no way out but up. And we all know about it. If we put the truck, there's a lot of new people here. We put the truck in front of the SEC, again, 2 weeks ago. We show them, follow the sell tickets, follow the money. Whoever's doing this, it's an easy paper trail. 265, 260, 255, 270 in this area. The real short, 1,420,000 is now upside down. I told you, William, whoever did this trade is 100% either Jeff Easton's mom, his father, his brother, his cousin, 100% tied to the naked shorts. This trade is by far the stupidest trade I've ever seen in my life. The most they can make is like 260 times 1.4 million. If the company went to zero, that's what they can make. Each day, they have to pay to keep this trade alive. It's called the cost to carry. Whoever is short this stock is a buffoon. It's not a hedge fund. It's not someone on the street. No trading desk in the world would allow anybody to take a position like this. All right, they would throw you out the window because the risk reward is not there. So they're 100% tied to the naked short. So that is super important. So you understand that. Do you have any questions, William, on that?
Looking.
I want people to understand it. I'm just going to put up that rumor about what I heard. Rumor on GTC.
GDC.
Yeah, GDC.
There aren't any real specific questions. Maybe you can go through the mechanics of how powerful 50 million to buy would be. I guess they have to try to find a seller, and they're not going to find a seller at $5. I don't think. How long do you think they have to buy the 50 million? The instructions to buy, if it exists. I know you're speculating.
Again, this is how it works. A prime broker has probably got someone that's short 50 million shares and gives the order to a trading desk to try to find 50 million shares before they run in and start covering. That's how it works.
So they might only find 15 million.
So someone like me working on a big trading desk, let's say if I was on Morgan Stanley's trading desk, the boss would come over and tell a select few guys that have good connections and say, okay, we got 50 million shares to buy this stock. And you know what? We could probably get everyone on this desk could probably make 30 cents a share in commission. And, you know, the short's willing to pay up. The more we get down here, the higher the commission's going to be on this trade. Because if I was short, and I say, hey, if you could buy me 20 million shares below 10, I would be kissing your ass, right? So that's what they pay more commission for. So they would call a few people over, and quietly you try to do whatever you can to find the shares, right? Because you're going to make a lot of money if you buy that stock, right? You get a big commission day. But also, guys on a trading desk, and I've seen it done 1,000 times, they go to the bathroom, put a note to their friend, and tell them they got 50 million to buy, and his friend goes out and buys it just to make sure if I can't find any sellers, at least I can make some money on this transaction, right? With my friend buying the stock, right?
At Harry's later on the weekend at the bar, you got it envelope.
So there's a lot of that stuff going around on the street. So again, if you guys don't think that works that way, the SEC is going after everybody for using WhatsApp. What do you think they're doing? You know, they all do it. So That's what happens here. All right. As you can see, again, I don't want to talk about GDC. You know what I heard. You're in it. I hope you kill them. And that's the way it goes. I'm not in it, so I don't care. I'm just giving you the information. And I hope it works out for everybody. And good luck. How high can it go? Like I always tell people, your nose will start bleeding. That's how fast and how high. You saw it almost take off to 12. You know, if that number is real, this thing is going to take off again. All right, so let's go back to finger motion again. There is zero selling. I'm sitting here watching paint dry after people were buying their positions. These guys naked shorted it. I'm sure that there's been a couple of day trading firms. The Timothy Sykes type guys come in. They all start selling 10s and 20,000 naked shorted. You know, because the Lynn partners will go out there and try to get a little army of short sellers trying to knock it down. You know, they all work together. Now what? We're here. Where are they pushing it to? They still have to cover. By the end of the day, it turns back up. This is the perfect buying pattern for anyone that wants to buy stock. Perfect. Spike it up, pull back, and then it stops trading, and then it slowly starts to walk back up. Those are the most powerful moves when it does that trade. The most powerful move is this quick spike up, pull back, stop, starts moving slowly, a penny, sideways, a penny. Then all of a sudden, at the end of the day, boom, this thing could explode to the moon. That's what I see. That's what I know. All right. We all know it's 54 trading days until Trump wins and Pat Byrne gets in office. Again, people, I know people don't, everyone has their view, their political view. I don't give a flying fuck who you like, what you're doing. If you don't vote for Trump on this one thing where Pat Byrne can fix the stock settlement system, everyone who votes the other way will have their kids living the life of poverty because you'll lose your money in the equity markets. Your grandkids, your kids will all get robbed, including yourself. All right? This is the most important thing in your life. I understand we want to keep everybody safe and inflation, all that bullshit, everything. But if you can't fix the stock settlement system, no one here is ever going to get wealthy fast than in the stock market. All right? I know people who made a ton of money in GDC on a short squeeze. Not on GDC inventing the cure for cancer, on a short squeeze. Imagine what will happen when finger motion goes and there's 230 million to buy, to cover. Imagine the stock being somewhere between $700 and $2,000, and you're long 3,000 shares, so 2,000 shares or 500, or you got calls or whatever it may be. This could pay off your house. It could do anything. You can get off the train anytime you like. This is not financial advice. I'm giving you my opinion. All right? These guys are trapped. They trap themselves. They continue to trap themselves. If they thought they can win, just keep saying it to yourself. Why didn't they let today's stock go to $6 or $7, right? Instead, they're trying to bring it down and get it unchanged on the day. For what reason? We don't care. No one's selling it. There's no reason.
It's kind of like in GME, they knew they could win, so they let it go to 70. They knew they could win. They got a lot of people buying it, and then they sold it back down to 30. Or am I wrong?
Same thing. GameStop, same thing.
Yeah, GameStop. They did
They
it.
got it to 500. They got out of control. And what did they do at the end? They sort of said, okay, we all got screwed here. Let's try to figure it out. And they have, right?
Yeah.
But this stock is very different than a GameStop or AMC. Those guys had Merlin Capital, see, because they had some big boys there.
Right.
We have Lynn Partners, Jeff Easton, that fat fuck. He's going to jail. He's got to have ties to that Anson fund in Canada. He's got ties to Andrew Luck. They got ties to all those bad guys.
Wow.
And people don't forget, these guys are all ratting on each other. There's nothing positive coming out of Andrew Luck's case September 24th. It told you already these guys are trying to negotiate and whistleblow on each other. They said it in the article already. We all know that. Nothing positive is coming out of Andrew Luck court case. I don't even think he's going to make it to them because I think he's going to sign some sort of deal, turn state's evidence, and give everybody up and just go to jail for 2 or 3 years instead of 30 years. I put a story up. He destroyed BIDZ back in 2007. You know, these guys are going to jail. Lynn Partners has been destroying companies for a long time. Their time has come. The paper trail does not go away. They think it does, but it doesn't. That's how it works. Any other questions? I didn't see the options this morning. Figure went to 318. If anyone bought the, I guess the $2 calls had to be over $1. And they went to probably $1.25. I hope somebody who bought those at a cheap price could have flipped them and bought the threes. People, if you are looking at options in the November calls, just look at the strike prices. The November 6 calls that offered at 20 cents, and so are the 7s. Do not buy the 7s. You could buy the $6 calls at the same price. All right, just be careful. Look at all the strikes first. Just don't go pick a number and just go buy them. All right, so just look at those and pay attention. Sometimes the market makers make a wrong market, and you could be able to get, instead of the 7s, you could buy the 6 for 20 cents. All right, so pay attention to that. All right, so again, I updated you what I heard about GDC. Good luck, best of luck. I feel awful. My wife's friend owned 3,000 shares at $1.60, maybe. I think I can't remember. And I was out in Jersey City the other night, and I forgot to tell her to sell it. And she really needed the money, and I apologized. So she's still long. I told her to hold on, and it would have changed her life. Selling it at $10, she would have made $25,000 or something like that. And she was thanking me I said, "Don't thank me. You didn't sell it yet." She goes, "Oh, just for thanking." I'm just saying I felt terrible, but I'm just trying to show you that the equity market almost changed this woman's life overnight. I just forgot. I had so many people that I was talking with, and I just forgot about her. And it just, made me sick to think that she didn't get out. But she will. I hope she gets out a lot higher and makes 50,000, whatever it may be. But again, that's what this is about. All right? I'm not looking to eat a biggest steak. Jeff Easton wants to eat a fucking whole cow, that fat fuck. I hope he chokes on it. These guys just want to keep stealing. They don't care who they steal from, who they hurt. These are people that are working people that invested. She bought 3,000 shares. She put up $4,000, whatever it is. And because of this animals, Jeffrey says not in GDC, whoever they are, I don't know who they are. But it changes people's lives. That's what it's about. All right? And if the market isn't fair, these things wouldn't happen. If I owned Finger Motion and I held on and the company had business and it was going the right way and it moved up slowly, I have no problem with that. As a matter of fact, that's what I thought I was getting into. Instead, I walk into a buzzsaw of naked short selling, trying to destroy a company that I know is going to be a good company. And that's why I decided to fight. Only reason. And now I can't stop fighting because I paid $287 for it in December 31st, 2018. The company was just what do you call it? Had one thing,
one product.
Yeah, I had one thing. Now there's 20 different things, 20 different revenue sources, money fully funded, deals all over the place, upgraded from the small cap to the NASDAQ, going everything in the right direction. And the stock went down. And they're still trying to hold it below where I paid for it. Think about that. But again, I look at The Big Short, Michael Burry, all those people in that movie, shows you that they were all in early. They got in early. They were all wrong. They were all ripping mad. Is everybody crooked? Everything was said just how we are. And at the end, he walked away making $2.7 billion. All right? As wrong as he was, that's how right he was at the end. So I have no problem waiting. All right? I know we're right. I know these guys are here. I know what's going on. And I know Patrick Byrne is coming. And for Patrick Byrne, who I know for 20 years, okay, go full circle, and now he's coming back into my life, and he's going to be to the right hand of the President of the United States on our side. We got the President, Elon Musk, the VPs on our side. Devin Nunes is on our side, who I really like. And now we have Patrick Byrne, right? And Kennedy also. He actually bought GameStop shares to try to support the short squeeze. So everyone is on our side against Jeff Easton and the rest of the band of crooks here. Jeff Easton and his friends don't stand a chance. Low-hanging fruit will be the first to get decapitated in this space. Those are the first guys to go. And I think it's coming sooner than later. And does anybody have any questions at that point?
Is there a price where finger shorts are totally upside down, Ham?
Yes, 390, I think. 390. Although that number comes down a penny, a half a penny, every day comes down a little bit. It's right now, it's a lot of the ice is above the water, and soon the ice will be below the water. At 390, it becomes completely like an iceberg where it's 90% underwater. At 390, it becomes the iceberg is completely underwater. The real short is 13 cents away from being underwater. You can see what happened there, fighting for his life to try to push it back down. Hurry, sell it back down, because they are completely drowning. 1.4 million. Today's volume has to be bought by 1.4 million is got to be covered just for that. And if the naked short wasn't selling to it, that 1.4 million to buy, the stock would be at 10. That's just on the real short. The naked short, forget it. It'll be, and remember, people, I know a lot of people, one of the best things we love to do on Wall Street is front run. That means getting in front of the buyer. Just like we talked about GDC. If that 50 million shares is around, trust me, people want to run in front of it. And that's how that works. All right, so, if GDC is real, you'll start to see people start to run in front of that big buy order and hopes that it works, and you turn around and the stock opens, 20, 30, whatever, $40, $50, whatever it goes to. That's front running. That's how it works. All right, any other questions?
One guy's just wondering, how do you find stocks, particularly technically, how do you find a stock who is being naked shorted like this?
Just look at the trading pattern you see in finger motion, put up 10 stocks, pick up 10 stocks that you may see a lot of people talking about on Twitter. I don't know, go to Reddit, maybe you can see them, and start to research the companies. I don't believe in buying these stocks like this HOLO or this, there's another one, MGLC. Or MGL something, I forgot what the symbol was. MGLC, I can't remember the symbol. Listen, I don't know these names. I hope they do work. They've been squeezed. They reversed their stocks. There's a lot of shit going on that you need to go study. I'm just not running in. The people that are running around, going from stock to stock, they're all looking for, I got this stock. They do no research, and they just say, okay, stock was here, now it's there. I don't believe in that. Not at all. If you want to go do that game, that's a fast money game. You win 2, you lose 8. And the 8 you lose, you'll lose twice as much as you made. So be careful with that game. We've been following fngr by accident. We bumped into the naked short. This wasn't like we planned it years ago. Okay, I've been kicked off of Twitter twice or 3 times already. I can't remember. I lost all my information and everything. I've been reporting on the same shit for 4 years. Okay, and it's just been building and building. And Jeff Easton and his buddies really showed you what real naked short selling is about. They were doing a deal with the company. They lent the company money. The company paid them off. My friend gave the company $4 million or $5 million, I forget the number, at $10. The stock is $2.53. My friend paid 10, and he's a smart motherfucker. That's how they got rid of Lynn. Lynn Partners gives you money and wants only one thing. They want to be able to convert the stock into stocks at pennies. That means they short it down. They have the right to convert. This company got rid of them. Why? Because we have good friends that are helping us. That's why. And now they're trapped. They can't get out. They know they're fucked. And we know they're fucked. And we're not letting you go. That's just how it goes. And they want to play games. They thought we were going to quit. We're not quitting until we cash out. Michael Burry made $2.7 billion waiting. It's not fun. But guess what? We have 54 days. Pat Byrne gets in here. And you want to see rule changes? Go read about Pat Byrne. Go see what his fight was about. I know it because I lived with him, and we educated him on a lot of it. That guy fought a ton, wasted days of his life. Just like we're all doing it. He's coming back, and he told you the only thing he wants to do is to fix the stock settlement system. You heard it in his voice. I'm not making it up. It's right there. You guys have free inside information. Free. No jail sentence, no SEC, nothing. President Trump is throwing out who? Gary Gensler? He's been the watchdog protecting the naked shorts. Day 1, Trump said he's throwing his ass out. Who's he bringing in? Well, it's our guy, Pat Byrne. Devin Nunes, his own company, DJT's been under attack. You think they're going to let that just fall apart and not squeeze that? You're crazy. And that's how it works. We have the power, not the criminals anymore. The criminals have been sitting here feeding off the SEC, protecting them. It ain't happening anymore. 54 more trading days. I can wait. 3 more hours, it'll be 53. Goes by quick. I started north of 90, right?
Yeah.
Free inside information. It's free. You know the day of the election. You know who's coming. You know who's getting fired. You know who's coming in. All right? It's free inside information. Pick any stock that you think is shorted. They're all going to work. But if you want to go buy a $50 stock, knock yourself out. That's there's a lot of risk between here and there. Stocks like Finger Motion, where's the risk? We're at 250. I told you if it was 20, it's a different story. There's risk. There's no risk here. Where's the risk? I mean, I got it. There is risk in everything.
So can we see another squeeze in GDC? Thank you.
If there's 50 million around to buy, the stock should start ticking up. I'm not following. Is the stock ticking up? I can't tell.
I can't. Maybe I can tell.
Maybe that guy can tell us. Is the stock ticking up from when I reported it?
It's 574. It's up 29 cents.
Right.
The volume's still very low today. And my guess is that's because whoever's working that order is doing it by phone, not putting his order out in the marketplace. The instructions are to find any big holders that want to sell the stock. Right.
So they have to somehow try to figure out who are the big holders. But I told you before, things have a way of leaking, and guys on the trading desk telling their friends, and their friends telling another friend, and then all of a sudden a friend tells me, and I tell it to you. That's how it works on Wall Street.
You keep saying Pat Byrne gets in if Trump wins. What if Trump doesn't win?
If Trump doesn't win,
Yeah,
everybody on this phone is fucked good. That's number one.
But the fundamentals are still okay with Finger, right? It doesn't change.
Oh no, Finger's got plenty of strategies to do what they have to do. Mm-hmm. Everything else, you're totally screwed on. If you think you can trade, you're all going to get robbed. You think you can invest, you're all going to get robbed. As a matter of fact, if Trump doesn't get in, I want to have our service. I want everybody to call up and give me your best picks. I want to short them all. That's what I want to do.
I'm for tampons in the homes, in the retirement homes of this country, and all the. Just kidding. Somebody else asked. Well, Scott thinks GDC may go to 20. All right. Bo Jest is saying Finger momentum building.
Listen, the gentleman who just said Finger momentum is building. The Finger trading pattern is the number one trading pattern in the world. Number one in equity trading pattern in the world. You can go buy a stock that's breaking out. You don't know what's going on. But when you see a stock that just breaks out, pulls back like it's done, stops, there's no selling, and gradually start to move up, they start to walk, and guess what they do then? They start to run, just like a baby learning to walk. That's what happens.
Were you trying to say one trick pony before?
Yes, that was it. I couldn't remember.
That's what Darren
I was saying a one-arm bandit, I knew it was one something, a one-trick pony. It's no longer a one-trick pony. And you could just take 2 minutes and go read the stories from all the company for the last year and a half. People, I'll just say it again. These idiots, Lynn Partners, just naked short versus that debenture. That's all they do. They don't even know where the stock exchange is. They know nothing about it. That's all they do. They give you money, and the first thing they do is they short it, and they sell it at $1.
They short it before they give you money.
Well, before they give you, as soon as they get the call. And they want the stock to go from $1, and then they go to a penny, and then they call the company up and say, we'd like to convert. And the company goes, if you convert down here, we have to give you 200 million shares. And they go, hey, man, what can I tell you? That means all those shares they sold down, they buy it at the bottom, and they cover. And if your company's being a bad boy, they'll drive you to zero, bankrupt you, and then they don't do anything. They never cover. That's another
no taxes paid.
Right.
So maybe you can explain this two ways, but the question is, after the squeeze in Finger, do you think people should still hold the shares of Finger for the long term?
Stock, let's say, I'm going to make believe. Let's just make up a number.
Okay.
The stock runs to 500.
Okay.
Fundamentals and nothing's changed, and the company's getting stronger. Obviously, they'll probably raise money up there like everyone else does. The stock comes back down to $20 like GameStop. Do you think it's a good company? I think so.
So explain the mechanics of what you just described. Basically, in that example, which is all made up numbers, if it were to go to 50, by then you would hope someone would have sold their shares, gotten out, and they buy back in at 20. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly. If you like, you can always invest, or you can go run around the street and go do something else. That's
true too. That's true too.
You may say, you know what? I've been in Finger Motion for 2 years. I made $70 a share, and I have all this money now. And you know what? I'm going to go buy something else. No one cares. Do whatever you want. At that point, the company's on its own. You at that point, if you've been with us, you know a lot about this company. I bet you know more about Finger Motion than everyone here knows about Apple Computer, what the fuck they're doing. I know NVIDIA. I have no idea what they're doing. You don't know the pricing of chips. You know everything that's going on here. They're working on data to sell to the reinsurance companies, Munich Re, Pacific Life Re. They didn't even warm up with that. They're installing technology in every emergency vehicle in China. Every emergency vehicle in China. Not one, everywhere. And that's being backed by the Chinese government. They have a license, the only company in China to actually have the license to do this stuff. Finger Motion has it. They have the rights to charge up electric cars in China. Every time you charge a car, you got to pay, say, $10. Finger Motion gets $1. They're using their app. You use their app, and that Finger Motion makes $1 for doing nothing. Who gave them that deal? Huh? I wonder if the Chinese government pointed to somebody and said, let Finger Motion get that money. That business just started also. They have things that they're doing. It takes time. It takes people. GameStop has $4 billion in cash. They have ads out on Twitter. We're looking for programmers. It's not easy to find things to get people going. It's look at GameStop. They got $4 billion, and they're having a tough time finding people. It's not easy to start a business.
It's not easy being cheesy. So, frankly, who's probably here, frankly, to represent the shorts, but he raises a good question. It might be a woman, Frankie. My eyes are bad. GDC is selling stock valued at 100 million.
I don't care. Listen, GDC, Frankie, frankly, Frank, whatever the fuck you are. I don't give a flying fuck about GDC. Go talk to the wall. I don't give a shit. We told everyone that I was getting along at $2, $3. It went to 12. You still standing around? It's your business. I don't really give a shit. Next, get out of here with my question.
All right.
That's a stupid fucking question. Let them deal with it. That's your problem. I'm not your fucking broker. I'm not here to advise you. You want to do something with it? Go ahead. I could kill us.
All right.
All right, since you got nothing to say, I'll just go on from here. Finger Motion, for anybody who's not paying attention. I already did the reported short was $230 million. I do not add any more. The only reason I do not add more because it's fucking stupid already at $230 million. For those who think I'm a jerk off making up the number, cut it in half. I told you before, make it $150 million. If you want, cut it again, make it $50 million. Pick a fucking number. Anyone goes to buy 50 million shares, the stock's going to the moon. All right? So pick a fucking number, whatever it is. The 1.4 million is real. You can see it. It's reported. We report on it every day, have been reporting on it. It's all factual information. It's right there. Finger Motion, we reported the daily naked short straight from FINRA. We're not making it up. All right? I have a friend of mine that calculates it and adds it up, and that's how we get those real numbers from. And he's been in business for 20 years doing this stuff. All right? So we get it from a professional place. All right? So that answers the questions on data. As they always say for everyone here, data doesn't lie, people do. All right? Data does not lie, people do. We posted the data. I'm not changing it. I make it less. If you want to be less, let it be less. Whatever it may be. Again, whatever that number is, it is. They can't even cover the 1.4 million they're shitting their pants. All right? That's what happens in this game. All right? Getting in early is hard. Go back to the Big Short. You're sitting around looking around, everybody's saying the same stupid shit. How come it isn't going? What's going on? I bought it. How come it didn't squeeze in 2 minutes? Blah, 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 right? For those people who always say to me, hey, how come you don't pick short squeezes? It's hard to find the short squeezes. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. I just gave you one. I reported on GameStop. How many people on this fucking call reported on GameStop at 375? I did it in writing, and I did a report for the government of Abu Dhabi, the regulators there. I gave it to Abu Dhabi Global Markets. That is their SEC in Abu Dhabi. A full fucking report on it. Nobody else did. I did. I just gave you GDC. I don't need a fucking medal, but I can show you I know what I'm doing. All right? It's hard to find naked shorts. You don't know when a short squeeze is going to happen. I'm not reporting on their next fundamental news. I'm not reporting on that. I'm reporting on a short squeeze based on security fraud called naked short selling. I posted the loophole 50 times on Twitter this whole weekend. Go read it. They all sign up to be a market maker. Everyone who has a market maker exemption goes out and gets hedge funds, and they give them the right to use their market maker exemption. That's like you giving your friend your driver's license and tell them go drive, even though they don't know what they're doing. They're supposed to monitor those people. They all look the other way. The guy Tom Gera in 2007 posted they're concerned that hedge funds are all going to sign up to be market makers just to get the exemption. No shit. The head of NASDAQ knew it in 2007. Everybody knows what's going on. The problem is it's so crazy. There's people doing it. There's terrorists doing it. Everyone's doing it. Look at this group in Canada, the Anson Fund. They're doing it. And they've been notorious, I heard. Andrew Left made it easier because as they're shorting it, he just comes out with a fake story. The fake story is a way to run interference. So if anybody rings your doorbell, right, they come to you and say, why did you short the stock? Well, Andrew Left did a report on it. They all blame him. That's how it works. Anyway, let me move on. Finger motion. For all those who don't think anything's happening, I told you I spoke to a security lawyer who's been following the filing with finger motion with the SEC. He believes any day the dividend should be approved by the SEC. If the SEC was not going to approve it, they would have squashed it already and it would have been over with. The CEO said in a video that they had contact with the SEC and had some questions. They were going back and forth. And based on when he said that, the guy told me that this is the dates that he thinks it's going to come out. So he says it could be this week, but he definitely thinks it's next week. So Monday we have off, I believe, waiting for the holiday. So there's 4 days next week. Today's almost over, so we have a total of 8 trading days. Anywhere between these 8 trading days, he believes the special dividend will be approved by the SEC. Okay? I can't guarantee it, but I'm listening to a lawyer that works on filings with the SEC. All right? The SEC can't hold these things back forever. All right? So that's how that works. And someone just told me GDC is now almost $6 now, so it is moving up. So maybe someone is starting to get their friends to buy in front of it to take a cheap shot. It's too bad it didn't have options in it. Anyway, so the approval of the warrant, it's a special warrant. They said the symbol is going to be fngr. Okay? It's separate from the stock. It'll be exercisable. I think I heard 3. I'm not sure. Maybe 3, maybe it's 4. Who knows where it is? At $3. Imagine the stock. You own 10,000 shares. It's a 10% warrant. You would own 1,000 free warrants. That's probably good for 2 years. It's got a two-year lifeline, 2 years. All right, so imagine you own it and the stock goes to 100. The stock goes to 100 and you have a warrant that's exercisable at 3. Well, it's pretty easy math. 1,000, you pay $3 for it. You sell it at 100, you make $97 for free. You don't even have to own the stock after the record date, and you can still have that warrant with you forever. So you're getting a gift from the company. You would have to pay the company $3, and then you can exercise your warrant. All right? So if it's 3, I can't remember the number. That's how that works. The best part about it, if these guys are short 230 million shares, they will be short 23 million shares just on the warrant. Okay? Now your GDC is 604. I'm looking at it now. So the warrant will get the short. Not only they're short 230 million of the common, they're going to be short 23 million shares of the warrant. Now, let me ask everyone a question here, William. I'll start with you. You got 1,000 warrants that is free for 2 years. And the market in the warrant is going to be, let's say, 20 cents to 50 cents. If you were to sell your warrant at 50 cents, you would make $500. 1,000 shares times 50 cents, $500, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't pay tax on it, and you basically give up your right to that option, that warrant.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you right now that my friends will scoop up those warrants, and you got a chance to own stock at $3 for 2 years. If the stock doesn't go up, you lose your 50 cents. So anybody who wants to dump those things, I believe they're going to be scooped up. Now, think about someone short 23 million shares. They have to go out and buy those things. And if people all have small percentages of it, it's going to be very hard to buy those 23 million warrants.
Well, then what happens, sophisticated investors, as the warrants get priced high compared to the stock, they buy up the stock and sell the warrants.
Ah, there you go. So now it becomes a
So
real
it starts feeding on itself.
You got it. It starts to kill them. You got it. Just another exotic dividend. And I posted maybe 900 times Pat Burns' his final hurrah to the shorts in Overstock was doing an exotic dividend. And the stock went from 3 to 128 once it was approved by the SEC. I put the story up. It's on Yahoo. Just Google Pat Burns short squeeze. You can see it yourself. Not making any of this stuff. It's right there. How do I know about dividends? Well, I worked with a very famous law firm telling us the way to expose the shorts is by doing a special dividend. It's equivalent to musical chairs. The music is playing. You stop the music. Everyone needs a seat. The seat being a certificate to match your ownership. If I own 10,000 shares, Morgan Stanley better have 10,000 shares for me to match my name. If they don't, that means they're short. If they're short, they have a choice. Call the short seller up and get delivery, or they're going to take the liability for it. I don't think Morgan Stanley wants to get in the middle of taking a big hit, or E-Trade or Ameritrade, whoever it is, on Jeff Easton selling counterfeit shares. So you're putting the pressure on the brokerage community to finally give up and start covering these stocks at forced settlement. That's how it works. I put it up there a bunch of times. Remember, Morgan Stanley, I'll do the math again. Let's say each firm owns 1 million shares on the books. These firms, can hit a button in 1 second, know how many shares they own, a finger motion at Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, whatever it may be. So Morgan Stanley's going to hit a button and say, we own 1 million shares of, finger motion. They call the depository trust up because that's where the physical shares are. And they say to the DTC, hey, how many physical shares do you have for me in finger motion? The DTC looks and says, okay, Morgan Stanley, you have 100,000 shares. Morgan Stanley's going to say, what the F? We are long 1 million. You only have 100. That means we are naked short 900,000 shares. That's how fast that happens. It's very easy. That's it. Musical chairs, you stop the music, everyone needs a seat. That's why I keep putting it up. That's how it works. Nothing more sophisticated than that. That's exactly what happens. And that's coming within days. So again, the stock was 20. I could see being concerned. The stock is here. Already had a little spike up. Where's the concern? We haven't been concerned. The stock was 4 when the company rang the NASDAQ bell. 4, William. We're at 260. What's the panic? Why are we panicking? This is a good company. The NASDAQ's even telling you it's a good company. Again, I told you before, the move to 315, the real short, 1.4 million, is shitting his pants. They attacked it down. They pushed it down, trying to get people to panic to sell. They're trying to create that volatility. They call it shaking the tree to see who falls out of it. I'm sure some idiot fell out of it. It was day trading. Paid $3 for it, sold it at $2.50, whatever the hell it was. Trying to, I'm going to lose my money. I just bought the wrong stock. Not knowing what they're doing. And that's why I keep trying to tell you, be careful when you run into these other names, because they do it to you and you have no knowledge about the stock. It's not easy to do. All right. But anyway, that's what they do. They shake the tree, make people panic. All right. And they sell it. Those are the day trading fools that always get ripped off.
So your friend wants you to know that Ken Griffin just revealed his plans for Citadel's 54-story glass tower in Miami.
I don't care about him. I told you before, Pat Burns said that he's the Fed. They're going to let him, they're going to shut down his manipulation, and that makes the stocks like VIRT going to be zeros. Okay? When Pat Burns comes in, VIRT, a public company that's just a market maker and arm that pays for a commission, will be wiped out. Ken Griffin is the big gun, and I believe they're going to shut him down, and slowly he'll get unwinded, and everything he's doing will go the opposite way. But that'll take time. The low-hanging fruit will all be hung, and those are the people that go into jail first.
Winged Wolf, I suggest you let your fingers do the walking. Google it, but it's one warrant for every 10 shares, not one for every 40 shares. The conventional wisdom doesn't enter into it. It's been announced. It's before the SEC. One share for each 10 you own. So I don't know why you don't know that.
I explained it very slowly. You guys, listen, if you're concerned about little things like that, hang up, go to Google, and just hit it up. It's all there on the tape.
It's
We're not
all
making
there.
it up.
It's all there. I just think he's.
It's okay.
I don't know.
It's okay.
I don't know.
Do some of your homework. That's all.
My first reaction, he's just trying to scare everybody. But then I realized maybe he's just too lazy to keep a notebook of his own investments, write it down. 1 for 10. And then he goes, one warrant for every 40 shares. Is that still the conventional wisdom? Conventional wisdom.
Since I told you about GDC, it was 555. Now it just traded at 610. Wow. So I guess.
What's the volume? I can't get it anymore.
2.4 million.
See, that's low. I mean, it's high historically, but that's low compared to the last 2 or 3 days. So I just think it's the pause for the cause, and something's brewing. I think it's what you said. Somebody has an order out there, buy 50 million shares, and they're working the phones. But after they are done with that, maybe that order turns into a.
While you say that, they besides working the firm, the head of the trading desk, he's buying stock. Listen, they
the
don't.
The compliance guy is just buying stock to have it.
Well, no, like I said, the head trader on the desk, he's trying to get his sales force to go find stock.
Right.
And while he's out here trying to scoop up stock, remember I always told you got to try to buy 10% of your order?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
They can't go back to the client and say, hey, how'd you do? The stock's up 60 cents. We didn't even start yet.
So by the end of the day, maybe they will have bought 5 million shares.
Right. Well, they can sit there and say, hey, you know what? We just started buying, and the stock's up 60 cents now. We bought, 120,000 shares. That's feasible. That's how it works. Right. I'm just saying, but that's how it works. They can't call them up. I'm sure the short seller or the prime broker who has the cover is is checking, saying, hey, make sure you get some stock everywhere you can. And that's what they're doing. In GameStop, the instructions from the prime broker were, hurry, buy as fast as you can. And that's what I expect to happen in finger motion. Someone's going to say, okay, it's over. Buy as many shares as you can, as fast as you can. I don't care how high it goes. Just keep buying until we cover 230 million. That's how it works. And that's how you get an HKD or whatever those crazy names were. They went to 2,000. They do happen. All right, we're not making it up. And that's why we're here following something. We're following a life-changing event. There's no guarantees, but that's what we're following. I'm not following a stock that's going to go to 2 to 10 because it did that already. We would have left if we would have thought that was it. Right? GDC, I know nothing about the stock. I know the symbol. It had a big run, pulled back. Now you hear things, there's big buys around. I really don't give a shit. You want to play it, play it. You want to be long. It's a casino game now. The easy money has been made. All right? That doesn't mean there's more money to be made, but the easy money's been made. I look for stocks that are doing nothing. You want to go play the Wild West, good luck. Once they get into motion, it's a very tough game. All right? You don't know when you buy the stock at $6 and it runs to 6.5, you're going to sit there and say, you know what? I'm going to sell it. And then all of a sudden it goes to 20. And then you're going to curse yourself out. Traders buy those stocks. If it was me, I'd be buying it at 6. I sell half of it at 6.5, and then I hold on to some. My break even would be 550, and then I would let the dice roll if I wanted to play. There's no options on it because if I would have traded it, made 50 cents, I would have bought the 10 calls for the 50 cents in profit and never looked back again. That's the proper way to play. Does anyone have any legitimate questions?
Well, one gentleman's pointing out the warrants will probably trade like the January 2026 call options. It's a reasonable guess.
Yeah, but the difference is that there's 23 million of those to buy.
Right.
A little different.
There's a
And
lot.
guess what?
The open
And
interest,
guess
so
what?
to speak, is massive
The-
versus 5
the-
million that exist.
The 23 million that they will be short comes with a little bit of a headache. They are a liability to the prime broker, so there's margin money required by the short sellers to meet the margin requirements on that 22 million warrants.
Yeah.
It's not like they're short and
Makes
everyone's
sense.
sitting there. And the prime broker is sitting there saying, it's Jeff Easton. Don't worry about it, Jeffrey. We know you're good for it. They're probably saying, okay, you're short 23 million of these things. They're 60 cents. They're priced at 60 cents. We need $3 in cash to back that up. Because if it starts to go up, you need to match. You need to put up more money, margin money. Just go read about how the shorts work. If you're short, you got to put money up. The prime broker needs to protect himself. All right. As the stock starts to go up, they can tell you we need more money. As the stock goes down, you don't need as much money. That's why Finger Motion was attacked, because the prime broker is calling them up and saying, hey, Jeff, at 318, at 2 o'clock, we need 25 million from you. And they go, okay. And they go, attack the stock. Hurry up, mark it down. That's what they do.
One guy asked you, how big is Lynn Partners?
Not big enough to lose all this money, that's for sure.
And another gentleman bought Finger at 210. Would you recommend using a stop loss on Finger Motion?
What's the stop loss for? The stock is worth 5. I could see it in a DJT if you paid 25 for it and you're nervous. I wouldn't advise doing that at $2.
They'll just come and take your stock from you. They see those
if
orders.
You're nervous about it, go buy the $2 put and just protect yourself if you're nervous.
That's a good.
If you think the company's going to zero, or you can go sell the calls against it.
I wouldn't do the stop loss. You can have a mental idea, but I mean, you either believe in the story or you don't. If you bought it,
if the stock was higher, I understand the stop loss, but the stock is $2.50. What's the panic? If you do some homework and see if the company's really worth $2.65 or whatever the hell it is, then the rush to protect that is Hey, listen, if it's nervous, when it runs at the end of the day, you can sell it at $3.10, make $1, and then go buy calls and never worry about it again. You buy a call at 25 cents. You make $1, you spend 25 cents, and you got 75 cents in profit, and you never have to worry about it again.
So, Frankie, I appreciate you're not a short. I'll just quickly say, because Sam's already said he doesn't want to talk about it. But if, in fact, GDC has an S1 or S3 out there for $100 million, let's just pick a number. Let's say they go ahead and sell 10 million shares at $10. That's still 80 million shares left to cover. So they're just taking advantage of liquidity in the market. And it's smart. It's smart corporate strategy. But they are not going to be able, the shorts are not going to be able to cover their position, their entire position.
Who did the S3?
I don't know. I haven't seen it, but Frankie is saying that.
Frankie, come back. Get me the name who did the S3.
Who the banker is.
I
don't have a way of looking it up because I'm using you're
all
on
right,
my
just let
one.
him do it.
I can't
let him go do it. Let him do it. Let him figure it out. Finger Motion had an S3, but I believe it expired because the stock price was too low and the company would not want to do money.
Well, it was a 2-year one, but I think maybe one of the parties might have given the 30-day notice. I don't know. It's all things you hear. Nothing announced yet.
Well, my friend works on a trading desk at a big firm, and I think they conveyed to them that is over with. That is through.
Yeah. Okay. So that must be what happened. This guy Paul is pointing out that there's, and again, it's not the stock you want to talk about, but it's all trades like this. GDC has a lot of buy volume, but very low sell volume. And so it's a point. Winged Wolf thanks you. Frankie thanks you. GDC is 614. So I guess that's
good. Finger motion is slowly moving back up. People, the best trading pattern you could ever see on the equity side, on the long side, is what you just seeing in finger motion. The up, down, and starts to rally back up. It is the ultimate buy signal. I'll leave it at that. You make your own decisions. Ultimate. If I was working on a trading desk, I would have pissed my pants to get buy tickets.
What's the buy signal? What you're seeing right now, or what you saw this morning, or on Friday?
So the stock moved up on buying, early buying,
right?
And they attacked it down to
right.
52, the 250, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it stopped. We've been on the phone. It just stopped dead.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it goes.
So the signal is they can't. The selling is dried up. The power is gone.
Yes, and now buyers all see it, and they come stepping in, saying, "Okay, it's green light to go take it." That's what it is. It's a perfect green light signal. Perfect.
I never thought I'd see this question, but do you think AMC will run?
I don't pay attention to it anymore. Listen, AMC, GME, both turned into shit stocks when the companies raised money. They sold out to the shorts. They both did it. I want nothing more. I hope it happens. I had a photo with the chairman of AMC, with a friend of ours in Kansas City, asking him to do a dividend to help out, and he said no. And that's when I turned on AMC, and I told people exactly what he said, and, you're out of your mind. GameStop, what happened when I seen them sell the $120 million? What did I say?
I don't remember your exact words, but I think
I said, who bought it?
Oh, that's right. And why don't they announce it?
Who bought the stock? Who bought the 120 million shares?
That's right.
That the stock company just sold? If it's a long, they have to file their own position. Zero filings means the short's covered. I told you it was $29. I said, this is done.
That's right.
That doesn't mean it's not going to run. It doesn't mean this. But now everyone owns a company that you want to see fundamental value on. You got to sit here and you got to wait it, let them build it out. I'm not here for that. I'm here for a company that wants to kill the shorts and has them trapped. Finger motion has the shorts trapped. They know who it is. Everybody knows who it is. And now it's time to cut their heads off and put them in jail. That's where it is.
It's interesting. I don't remember what price it was. I want to say it was $375. But anyway, this Frankie's pointing out that Kodak is strong.
Is it again? I stopped looking.
I don't know what price it's trading, but he's saying
it needs to go. It needs to go to 620.
All right, that's what he's
saying.
It's
618, 620 is what I said.
Yeah, but what was it at, like, sort of 9 months ago or a year ago when you were talking about it?
$4, $5, $6. It's popped a couple of times 3 years ago. Yeah. They had a big squeeze to $60-something, and they beat it back down. The naked short in the stock is $1 billion plus. I told you, you were with me. We went to the Rochester, upstate New York assemblymen, wherever the fuck they are.
I thought it was Elise Stefanik's office.
Now, finger motion is 60, 260, bid at 262. All the little creatures that naked shorted around Lynn are sitting there saying, okay, we got to cover some of this stock back. I don't want to stay short this thing. Jeff Easton told us it was going to go down. Well, we didn't get a chance to buy it back. There's no selling. So now they start creeping back and starting to buy it. 265, the real short is underwater. Remember that. 1.4 million.
Justin is asking you if the concept of counterfeiting shares is the same on the over-the-counter markets. I'm not sure what
the concept.
I don't know what
the concept means. It's free money. There's no concept. It's a fact.
just,
It's a fact. It's a business plan. It's a way of life. I don't know what the concept is. Finger now is 261 to 263.
Is stealing the same on the over-the-counter market as it is?
They do it to New York Stock Exchange companies. They did it to Lumber Liquidated. They just buried it to bankruptcy. LL, gone. They do it everywhere. 64, 66. I told you it's the best trading pattern in the world.
That's
Number one.
That's one thing you know. For sure.
I know nothing else. That I know.
For sure.
No other questions? The special dividend is on the way. I was laughing. Talking to my brother about it. He goes, these guys are shorting it with the dividend coming. He goes, are they insane? I said, they can't do anything. They're trapped. Just throw in the towel already. They're going to go to jail because these guys are nuts. I says, I don't understand it either. But you know what? If they want to keep doing it, you got to take advantage of it because it is a life-changing situation. Nothing else, William? No questions?
Not really. Stupid questions. Can they do to finger what they did to GTII? You know, stupid questions like that. So
no,
it's not
so for that
worth
purposes, so the person who said that about GTII, we said it a zillion times. The company needed to put fundamental value in there. The company is the only company that has the proof from the government. They have the proof, right? But the CEO is too old, and he didn't do anything to put a fundamental story in there. Many companies tried. I have to believe that he didn't really want to do a deal because he had many opportunities. He just couldn't close them. All right? I don't know the reason why, but he stayed too long at the dance without doing a deal. He could have made bubble gum, anything. He needs to have fundamental values. Instead, he did not. So now we have lawyers removing management, and if everything goes okay, they're waiting on a ruling. Richard tells you about it. The ruling goes in our favor. There's companies that want to merge into GTII. So let them do it. Let the legal thing happen. Big shareholders are trying to remove management, so they have zero control over this whole situation. And when that happens, then the stock will go. Finger motion, for the gentleman who just talked about GTI, go read about their fundamentals. There's news stories a mile long about every business thing they're in. Go look at it. Very different company. They're both naked shorted. GTI has one thing that's most important. They have the proof from the government. I posted that maybe a zillion times from a court case where Alpine was helping to defraud the GTI shareholders by selling shares without having any money to back up the transactions. Anything else? As you can tell, William, I just...
MPA.
Who?
I'm just going to answer this guy. The lawsuit that is filed is not Richard Hoffman's. So if you're saying Richard Hoffman's lawsuit is a joke, you don't even know what the heck you're talking about.
He's got nothing. It's against management.
He's just giving us advice. It's another attorney selected by Wales. So if I'd appreciated MPA, if you're going to post something, at least do your homework first.
Right. It's not Richard Hoffman's lawyer. He's an attorney that's following the case. The attorney was hired by the big investors that own 30 million shares. They're the ones that filed the lawsuit.
Yeah.
So, and they got a lawyer out of Nevada. I don't know who it is. The judge is supposed to rule on it. So why don't you wait to see what the ruling is? Let's see what happens.
And no, he's not leading it, MPA. And you can take your language elsewhere. I really don't appreciate it.
Listen, remember the Bash's handbook, everybody? They never bash it. They never bash a good stuff. What do you call what is the term?
Free speech. You know what, MPA? Free speech yourself. I haven't cut anybody's speech. It's just insulting that you don't even do your homework when you ask a question. It's insulting. People are here. Their time is valuable, and you're wasting people's time. So, yeah, leave. I would love it if you left. But you have free
Listen,
speech to be an idiot.
Tell MTA go put his dunce cap on, get in the
You
corner.
can just, you can be it's sweet to be an idiot. Enjoy it.
Hey, wait a second, William, an update. GDC is now 635. So I guess the story does get around, right?
Yeah, by the end of the day, it could be 16. No, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Listen, William, people like this, please. You raise your voice to them. There's no reason.
They win.
Just let it go by.
I loved Robert Kennedy's was interviewed on Sunday, and they said, "Are you doing this because you're angry and it's revenge?" And he said, "No, I don't have any anger. I don't have any revenge. I'm not trying to get back at anybody. If you do that, it's like drinking poison and hoping somebody else dies. I don't do that. I make all my decisions level-headed and what's in the best interest of the children of America." I like that. That's a good answer.
Well, that's what we're doing. If you don't want to be part of this, listen to the gentleman who called up. He's checking in and say, I don't think we called him.
No.
We called him. He's dialing in. And he got the wrong number.
He's laughing. He's laughing his effing ass off, which is great. Very mature guy. Anyway, Alan, it's not a big project for the receiver if the control is given to the receiver to get DTII out of the expert market. It might be a little bit of money. I don't know how much. Companies I've dealt with in the past, it can be as much as $250,000, but it can also just be 50 grand or 25 grand just to get the numbers filed. So I don't know. It's very easy. All they have to do is file
they have to do an audit.
Financials.
They said they have to do audited financials, and that's it.
Audited financials. So that gets it's 100 grand. I don't know. I'm guessing.
So they're going to be audited financials. The big players are paying for it. So if people are upset about that, if you like, I can tell the big players, do me a favor, stop it and let it go away.
No. He's fine. He's asking.
No, I'm only breaking fun of the other idiot. That's all.
Yeah. What it'll do. So it's not hard. Somebody just has to pay for the audit. Somebody is going to pay for the audit, and it'll be up trading again. But it's got to get through receivership first, and we haven't heard what's happening yet. Your friend is saying that Ham should be FBI director because he wants a full pardon for everything he did next to Bernie Madoff. I don't know. Wasn't he in jail with Bernie Madoff?
Yes, he was in prison with Bernie Madoff.
At college, I mean. Didn't he go to college?
My friend went to college with Bernie Madoff, yes.
God, that must have been. Well, maybe it'd be interesting to sit next to
That's why Bernie Madoff killed him. He killed himself, Bernie Madoff. He's with that idiot.
It might have been interesting talking with Bernie. MNTS is up 25%. Well, okay, but I don't know anything about that one.
Listen, there's plenty of stocks. Please, what's the symbol on it?
MNTS.
There you go. It's up 25%.
And then there's another one that someone's mentioning, MLSS.
And there's a stock that's down $7. TSLA. I never heard of it before. It's down $7.25.
Tesla.
Oh, so I just thought we were all recapping what's going on. Listen, you know what they call that, my friends? Monday morning quarterbacking. No one likes that, so it's a waste of time. If you had it, you traded it, you could tell us, hey, I bought this stock, MMTS. I paid 80 cents. I sold it at $1.20. I made 40 cents 10,000 times. I made $4,000. Everybody go fuck themselves. I'll see you later. And I made a great trade. Be careful. That's it. That's what. If you said that, I respect that more than telling me that stocks are up and down. We don't work on a trading desk. If you said that to people, the first thing anybody would say to you is, why didn't you tell me to buy it when you bought it? Why didn't you tell me about it? So you'd never say that because you make yourself look terrible. So if you got to pick, tell everybody what it is. Own up to it. Stand up. Be a man. Win, lose, or draw. No one can guarantee anything. That's the way it is.
Raiden is pointing out there's no shares to borrow in finger motion.
It's just remarkable. GDC 646 now, up $1.
Row W. GTII is a different stock than finger motion. That's all I'm going to say to you.
That's it. Go read about the press releases about the company, what they're doing. And GTI has no business. The company had an opportunity to do business, but it has not closed the transaction. And that's why we're here, because the company did not do what they're supposed to do. That's it. There's nothing else they could do. Finger motion is the same as Tesla. GTII is the same as, what is it, DBMM? I don't know, whatever it is you want to do. I don't know, whatever it is.
It's interesting. There's still some, what do you call these boo birds? There's a name for them, bashers. Something must be happening in the background.
Well, they're worried about that. If this thing comes out of the court, we have companies that will go into it, and GTII will have a new company, new management. The shares are going to be reduced. All the shares that the CEO has and everything else will be returned. And then the company has a small float, small outstanding, and we're going to have a real business in there. I would be concerned if I was short 500 million shares of stock, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. That's what these guys are more concerned about. Why would anybody want to piss on a stock that's trading at 5 cents that's not even trading? Right? Go. What are you kidding me? Get lost. You're wasting your time.
Well.
And bashers only bash, they never bash a bad stock. They always bash a good stock. And in the case with GTII, they're bashing it because they don't want it to come out of the grave. That's why.
Bashers only bash when they're playing. 644, Al Atwells is saying. Is that true?
Hold on, William. I just have to go to the men's room. Give me a second, all right?
Wash your hands afterward. They just had to pick one person, honest person, hire one honest person. Instead, they get glad-handing, prevaricating, tree monkey climbing Gary Gensler. Climbing trees, I mean. If GTII comes back, does the symbol? No, the symbol doesn't change. They're just in. I don't know hockey, so if I get it wrong, I get it wrong. But they're in that timeout bin. That's all. They have a right to get. They have a right to become current.
I'm back, William. I'm back, ready to go.
Two people fainted. One person is getting CPR because you were gone.
I went to the hospital today to do pre-op stuff for my knee surgery. I gave blood, chest x-ray, CAT scan. And,
did the doctor stick it in where he did before just for the fun of it?
No, not that doctor.
A different doctor.
You lost him. It was a little bit above my head.
No, it's below the waist.
Right. So anyway, listen, GDC's got some buying activity. Again, I hope it works out for everybody. I hope what the rumor is, I hope it's true. God bless you. What else can I say? There's nothing else to say. Finger motion. Again, we started to move up to 260, the slow grind. And these guys are sitting here. They don't want anybody to look at the stock. They're trying to say, please go away. Jeff Easton say, going away. Do you realize, people, these guys have this? It's been, the police are looking the other way. Think about what they did today, the assault, the naked shorting to try to knock it down. Okay? There's no shares to borrow. The naked shorting, selling at the market, trying to get lower. think how many companies that everyone's been in that had the same patterns, and no one's ever been able to fight back because they just destroy the companies. And everyone's talking about their stocks at 30 cents. Oh my God, 30 cents, we got to fight back. Finger Motion has taken every assault, every fight, they've taken it on the chin, and it's bounced back. And in that time, the company was able to build a real company, doesn't need any money from the street, and now is issuing a special dividend to reward the shareholders who stood with them. These guys have a big problem. The truck has been in front of the SEC numerous times. One of our shareholders in both GTI and Finger Motion, his father-in-law is an SEC enforcement lawyer who told us that the SEC is watching and reading the truck. And he says they are. He told me to make sure to keep doing it because they are following it. Because I know you think they're not paying attention, because they are. That's what he told me. All right. So again, he said they're not blind; they can see it. So I do believe that we're doing the right thing, and Jeff Easton and his friends eventually will get caught. So that's just the way it is. They wanted to play this game. I know the sell tickets aren't coming back to me. So again, they're the ones with the problem. Andrew was living in fear from the DOJ, and now all his fears have come true, and he has to deal with it. He has to give up people that he was helping front run, having people how much money they robbed, you name it. That jury's going to hang him. And I'm sure his lawyers tell him, hey, you better give up people, because if you go to court and you go to this case and you get caught, you're going away for 25 years. Do you want that, or are you going to give up some people? So that's what they're doing. They're all giving up everybody. And Lynn Partners is well known in the naked short selling, toxic lending circle. Him, Savvy Management, all those characters, all of them. All those guys have been doing this stuff. All the same people. They're going to make them give up their prime brokers. They're going to make them give up their people, the brokers, Canaccord, all these guys. Any other questions, William?
GDC cost to borrow 225%.
They're not borrowing. They just keep shorting, naked shorting.
Yeah. Make sure
Listen,
they
all
do
they're trying to
the.
do is kick the can down the road. Hurry up, sell what we can. Hopefully tomorrow the longs will give up on it, and the longs are not. Today's action in GDC tells me the longs are not giving up on it. If the longs were giving up on it, it would have went down. But the longs are not giving up. There's buyers, and now the shorts have to worry about it because they're the ones that got to give up.
Very funny. Carmine Persico was nicer and more intelligent, I guess, than you.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe me. Certainly me.
Well, I never saw his ass in my neighborhood. So, Mr. Rosenberg, come over to my neighborhoods. You see,
he might be talking about me.
He's talking shit with the guy that was in jail. Come to the real neighborhoods. Let's see how you act.
He's been there.
He talks shit. He's a shit talker. He was too busy making prison wine in the toilet for the prisoners. That's what he was doing.
Lordy. Lordy.
Come on, people. And I'll answer any question.
No real questions.
So I guess everybody understands. I believe we're going to see the special dividend. The earnings come out in Finger Motion in October, you said, so we got another month to that. The company has a license to install. The only company in China with a license to install this technology is Finger Motion. Go read the press release. The first of its kind. The company put in their press release, the first of its kind. And I never discussed this with William, but I did discuss it with a few other people. Why would the company say the first of this kind to get this license? Is it a one-time event, or is there multiple things coming from this license? We believe there's other things coming from it. All right, so they got a contract, they got the license, but the first of its kind. If it's just for this, what's the big deal? But if it's for other things that they needed this license to grant other business off of that, I think that's why they have the license. But Jeff Houston and his friends want to sit here and sell 100 shares at 262 because the company is the only one with that license in China. Trust me, people, public companies in the U.S. would do anything to get business like this in China to have access to 1.5 billion people. It's the biggest market in the world. These guys, companies in the U.S., anything. If you know a big company in the U.S., ask them how are they getting into China. We can't. We don't have the contacts. Finger Motion 100% has the contacts. And Jeff Easton bagged himself short in the stock. All right, that's what he did. If anybody wants to see what Jeff Easton really does, go look at KNW. They lent them $10 million or $12 million. Go read the debenture. See what they're going to do to this company. It's worthless. And their buddies jumped on, piled on to this thing. This company, I don't know how many shares they had outstanding before, but it's probably got 75 to 100 million more that just been issued. William, you still with me?
I'm
Everybody still awake?
you.
It's 124. We got 2.5 hours, and we go from 54 trading days to 53. By the end of this week, we're going to break 50. It's going down fast.
The strange case of Benjamin Button.
Right. That's exactly what we're doing. We're going the opposite way. Pat Byrne, for those who don't know, he is going to decapitate these guys. He's not going to give them any leeway. The rules are going to change, and the SEC is going to force stock settlement. He's not going to let it go. He knows they've had enough time. They know what's going on. He knows he's an expert on it. Not all these political people in Washington, D.C. You know, I feel bad for the people in MMTLP. They have all these congressmen and senators that, you know, signed the paper. I don't really think most of them understand what really happened there. Okay? Pat Byrne is the expert on that. And when this happens, I will make sure that my friends in MMTLP, like Anna, will get to the front of the line. I will make sure that we help them to close that transaction out and expose it. I always promised that I would do that. She's been nothing but an angel, and I would do whatever I can for her, Busy Brands, and the rest of the people that want me to help them out. I will make sure Pat Byrne has that documentation and gives them the time to make sure that works out. So I'm doing as much as I can, but right now I'm focusing on what we have in hand. We have a short trapped. We have infinite on the upside, and these idiots are trying to hold the stock down. Again, if they thought they can win, let the stock run to 10 and then beat it down. They can't let it go up because they can't make the margin calls. You can see it. If you can't see it or feel it, then you need to get out of the game. You can see the pressure. It went to 3. Hurry up, push it back down. Make those, don't give the stock any momentum. But we don't need momentum. It's gradually gonna climb up. We don't need more buyers, although we do have them. The buyer is 230 million shares short, the naked, and 1.4 million of the real short. Those are two monster buyers. I don't think you need any more than that. That's bigger than Fidelity, BlackRock. That is monster buying. And every time it ticks up, think about it, every dollar up, they're down 230 million. Those are massive numbers. And that's why they're holding it down, because they can't afford the markup. And just as you just saw, they just printed some at 258, one share, trying to mark it down. Remember, their marks are marked to the market. Each time it trades, they need to, their margin gets ticked. Oh my God, it's trading up. When a buyer comes in, they will move out of the way. Nothing else, William? I think we've exhausted the finger motion news. We can't. I reached out that went forward, backwards, sideways, you name it.
What do you think DJT is going to go up?
Yes, I do. I think that's the layup of them all, but it's a very volatile stock. It's a $22 stock, and there's a lot of risk in it. It can go to 18, it can go to 50, it can go anywhere. Just remember, Donald Trump's not a fool. He knows there's GameStop money. Who's going to be GameStop money was supplied to by who? The naked shorts. Devin Nunes already screamed about naked short selling manipulation in the stock. Donald Trump is involved with Devin Nunes. If you don't think they're going to carry it and finish this transaction out, then I think they're fools, but they are going to do it. It's just hard for me to tell people to look at DJT. I haven't, it's so volatile. You can, I'm not like Roaring Kitty. Oh, don't worry about it. This is chill nation, excuse me. Don't relax. You're down $3. Oh, just diamond handed. Don't worry about it. I don't believe in that. I want to fight and keep these guys choking and keep people educated every 2 minutes, not every 40 days, and put a video up of a cat and a dog and whatever the fuck he does. He would have been thrown out of a window.
You shouldn't be making fun of him. He's made money for people.
Oh, he did?
I don't. That's what they said to me a lot. Oh, him.
I did. I made money for people. I made money for people. I don't give a fuck about him.
So David's telling you before they put you under and you have to count backwards, make sure they marked the correct knee to be operated on.
Thank you.
Make sure they marked the knee.
September 20th.
Not your private.
Oh, they'll give me a trim there.
Yeah.
Listen, it's very weird getting older that, I've been playing ball my whole life. My knees just, I play at a very high level. I run all the time, but I come home at night, it gets sore. And they're saying that you have to do it now. Don't wait 10 years because, it's harder to recover when you're older. So that's why the only reason I'm doing it. I can't wait to go playing today at 4 o'clock. I'm going to go out and play. And they ruined my morning game because I had to go to the hospital. But again, it's just weird. I don't know. I feel great. As long as I'm walking around, I'm fine. Once you sit down, though, it gets stiff and sore. Like, holy shit, what the hell happened here?
So, Frankie, if the S3 filing shows they're selling shares from time to time, you have to take that into account as to when you sell your own shares. I don't think GDC is anything but a trade. Get the hell out of it as soon as you feel like it hits the number you want.
Listen, these people, GDC, the easy money was made at $2, $3.
Yeah.
That's when the easy money was made. Now it's the hard money. Everyone's looking at it. We don't know whether it's going up or down, right? No one knows.
I'm not making a recommendation one way or the other, but one thing I would say, it's not a stock to hold diamond hands forever. This is a hit and run as far as you're concerned. My opinion, but you do what you want.
If you didn't hit and run last week, I don't know what to tell you. Think about a stock that was just $1. All right, I was talking about it went over $1. I said they needed to get it back over $1 so to meet the NASDAQ requirements, right? Just put another zero. Let's make believe it instead of $1, it was $10. Hit a zero. It went from $10 to $120. Now, if you own the stock at 10 and went to 120 and you didn't sell it, then you're a fucking idiot. Just do the math, the numbers. Okay? That's how you have to look at these things. Percentage-wise, it's a tremendous return. Okay? And that's on a stock, we don't even know anything about it, but the symbol. Okay? Now you know there's a massive short squeeze because now you're seeing its rear its ugly head and it's traded all this volume. All right? So where do you go from that point? That's your problem. I can't advise you on that. This is professional trading in that stock now only. If you own it, I told you, my wife's friend, I won't let her sell it. I think it's going to have another chance. All right? And she owns it at $2 or something like that, $1.80 or something like that.
So
I could have
this
changed the life,
gentleman,
but I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry.
this gentleman, Augustine, has a very important question. What's going on with Finger?
Well, Finger, I don't really know much about it. It's a company that they make fingers and then they put them in motion.
Gee whiz.
What does he want to know?
I don't know what the heck he wants to know. That was it? That's all you wanted to know? Well,
what's going
one
on?
guy look, he can replay the call if he wants to hear what you think. Have you ever bought back into a stock after you traded it and
100%.
regretted it?
I regretted it. I hated it, but I loved it when it bounced, and I was right. Right now we're in gambling time. I told you that. The best thing to do is if you bought 1,000 shares and you flipped it and you made 3,000, you can go back and buy 200 shares or 100 shares just to see how you're going to do it, see if it does go. This way, you can keep your interest in the game. That's what everyone's here trying to think they're going to catch it. So you don't have to own 1 million shares. Own 100 shares. 100 shares at 50 is a nice little payday. It'll make you sick because you're going to say, why didn't I buy more? I should have never sold it. Why did I listen to those idiots? But you don't know where it's going to go. The way to play the market is to get in stocks when they're going sideways. I've told you that 60 times. Finger motion is going sideways, but you're looking for something that you think is, but it's something else is more dangerous. You want to play danger, you know where to go, If you want to get in trouble, go to the Venezuelan gang members. Go over there and play with them. If you want to play with the nice people, it's finger motion. We're in the safe neighborhood. I don't know how to explain it to you. DJT is a high price stock. The short sellers trapped in here. These guys shorted the stock and then tried to assassinate the president, Donald Trump. I mean, everybody can see it. Everyone knows they're doing it. If you don't think they're investigating that, I don't know what to say. I mean, that's my opinion. I think it's a layup, but I just don't know when. The only way to play it would be buy cheap calls, and I would buy the 50 calls for 10 cents every month. Just forget about it. Because if it's going to go, it's going to $200-$300. What do I care about the first 20 points? I don't care. But I can't deal with the risk. I'm not in the business. I'm older now. I'm not in the business of rolling the dice. I don't go to a crap table every day of my life. I used to play dice, but I haven't played in years. I go to Vegas. I don't even gamble anymore. I have no interest in it. I'm not a gambler anymore. I was a gambler. Now I'm not a gambler. Slow and steady is how I want to be.
You don't even ramble.
I ramble. That's one thing I do. But again, I'd rather play something that's going sideways. GDC was going sideways. I talked about it. I talked about the beatdown. I talked about it when it had to get above 1 so that they met the NASDAQ relisting qualification. They did that. They had to maintain it. It spiked to 220. Then they bear rated it down to $1.15. I said point blank, if it gets over 220, the thing's going to take off. Boom. It kept creeping back up, broke 220, and went to 12. What else do you want me to say? I called it play-by-play. It was like Marv Albert calling a Knick game or something like that.
Getting his toes sucked, or was that somebody else?
That was the coach of the Jets.
What did Marv Albert get in trouble for?
Marv Albert had a toupee, and I think he got caught with a bunch of hookers. I think that was it. Hey, sounds like me. Anyway, so that was that. So, again, that's the way you got to look at these things.
How high? When it goes high, how high will high be in finger motion?
Okay, I'm going to give you my 2 cents about this. Remember it, mark it down. I don't want to keep saying it.
Look up.
Finger motion is a very important stock for everybody here for one reason. Everyone here has been educated about it. When GameStop happened, I did full reports on it. Okay, I tried to educate people, but we didn't have all the information that I have in Finger Motion. That's in GameStop. I knew it was big. I put the data down. I posted it. I did it all. People were buying it at 2 3/4. I had friends that dumped it at 8. That bought 300,000 shares at $3. Excuse me, what's that? 3 3/4. Sorry, they paid 3 3/4, $4, $4.50, selling it at $8, $9, $12. Would kiss my ass in Macy's windows. Some taking me out for celebration dinners. They made $1 million, 800,000. Loved it. Couldn't thank me enough. All right. And then it took off to the high heavens. I told you the highest we sold stock was 118. Because I wasn't as versed as I am in Finger. In Finger Motion, we've documented the naked short number to the T, hourly, weekly, for 2-3 years, every day. We put a truck in front of the SEC outlining, showing them the crooks. We didn't do that in GameStop. I didn't know who the crooks were. I didn't know how big the naked short was. I estimated based on what I believed. This one, we had the data. We were getting the data. The government was giving us the data. We put it all together. We average priced every share that they sold. In GameStop, I went back and looked at the average price on the shorts. You remember, GameStop was like a $40 or $50 stock before it crashed to 3 3/4. The shorts were in the black. Okay, profitable. I'll say the average price on all their shares was probably $20 to $23, something like that. So when the stock ran to 10, 12, 15, they were still pressing their bets because they knew they would break even with 25. Finger Motion, the same thing. Think about the numbers. Their break even is 390. We're almost there. GameStop was $22. Finger Motion's 390. Way lower. And these guys are trying to press their bet, holding it down. Here, this game hasn't got into the big numbers yet. They're trying to do everything they can, and they actually have stopped for the most part, as you can see. There's nothing going on. We've been talking for an hour, and the stock is doing nothing. We moved up from 51, 52 to 62 now. And there's 100 shares for sale and 100 shares to buy. Where are they going? They are what you call out of gas. They tried everything. They used every connection they have. There's no shares to borrow anymore. Tonight or tomorrow, we get an update on the real short from the last few days. I've been telling you they've been washing trades. So that number 1.4 could be lower. All it's done is move the real short from 1.4 million, let's say it goes down to 1. 400,000 shares has been washed. And now it's on the other side of the ledger with the naked short. Just sort that out pile. Instead of 230, make it 231, whatever. I'm not going to add anymore. That's all they've done there. So that we've been documenting all this. I posted it every day. So I'm sitting here watching it, and I put it up on Twitter, and I post it because I want the law enforcement agencies to actually see the whole case right there every day. And while we're still here, let me just look at something here, William. Take it easy, William. Don't put the pressure on. I just went to time and sales to see what's going on. And for the most part, there was only one trade a little while ago, 2612 of 3,000 shares. Whenever you see the numbers of 2612, that means they shorted it from trading at 62. 250 shares, 4 shares, 12 shares, 5 shares. This nonsense has been going on for a while. These odd lots, as I call it. But there's really nothing going on. It's just, the buyers came in this morning. People that made a lot of money in GDC, taking some of that profit and putting it into here. I told you that last week they were doing it, right? Did I not say that, William?
Yeah, you did.
So here's the stock. It was 259 bid, 100 shares trades, and now they dropped the bid to 256 to 262. when there's not a buyer in the name, they just drop the bids and make it, and then they print 100 shares always at the lowest price to make you think there's a seller. It's going lower. There it goes. Now they offered it 700. Instead of selling it at 261, they offered it 259. 700 shares. They're trying to change the whole, and they just took them out. Now at 257, it's just a waste of time really watching this. I know people like to watch it, but just a waste of time. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to go outside and sit in the sun a little bit. It's beautiful out. And go play ball at 4 o'clock. And we'll be down to 53 trading days when I get home tonight. I have to go to a fantasy football draft for my son. He wanted me to go with him. So I have to take him to fantasy football. And he picks his team and he puts up $100 and he's in the NFL Fantasy Draft League, whatever that is.
That's pretty cool.
I don't have the patience to do that. All right, so they're piling up the stock. There's 900 for sale at 259 again, everybody. Hurry up. I'm marking it down. Hurry up. Let's get it red on the day so everybody who's long panics. As you can see, there's no panic at all. There's no selling. People that are buying it have made money in GDC, and they know they're not in a panic if it ticks down a quarter. No one's in a panic. Now they got 1,900 for sale. See, William, they just keep piling up. Anyway, I can't do this anymore. I'm out of gas. It's ridiculous to even talk about this stuff anymore. But I'm just trying to keep you abreast. I've given everyone every opportunity to ask any questions. And the morons that William needs, you should address those people. Shut them down. It's stupid at this point. But anyway, William, sign off. Go take your dog for a walk. It's beautiful out, everyone. We'll be down to 53 trading days. Vote Trump. Trump brings us Pat Byrne. If you don't know who Pat Byrne is, go do your homework. You'll be very where we are about Pat Byrne. All right, William, I'm done.
All right. Thank you.
All right, have a great day, everybody. Thank you.
The margin call can happen at any time. What you're really asking is, can a buy-in happen? I think that's what you're really asking after hours. And no, unless things have changed, and they might have been, but no, they wouldn't do a buy-in after the market. There's not enough sellers. A margin call can happen literally, in the middle of the night, but the ability to fill that request for collateral and cash has to be done during the banking hours of your brokerage firm. And so I don't know when wires can be sent. I assume as early as 8:30, maybe 7:30 in the morning, and maybe as late as 6 p.m. And those rules have all changed, but they're pretty much instantaneous. But you can't give someone a margin call at midnight and expect them to wire money because the banks are closed. So that's one. Two, if your question is, with 24-hour trading, could they do a buy-in after market or before market? It's highly unlikely because it's an illiquid market, and they just be shooting. They, being the prime broker, would be shooting themselves in the foot. So no, the margin call, the request for capital can come at any time, but the buy-in will be during trading hours. Well, the aftermarket, there's no circuit breakers. Yeah, I guess that's right. The pre-market, you can establish a higher number by which the halts would occur during trading. I'm a little unclear what triggers a halt. I guess it's a move in price during the day, but it's weird. They don't do it with when it goes down, so it seems very arbitrary to me. I don't know the answer. I should have asked, but I got to the point I didn't want to ask any more questions because, and I think I'm signed out, unfortunately. Let me see. I can't get a stock price on anything. So I will just go in the blind. Thank you everybody for watching. I'm going to read, I don't know which article to read. I like them both. I like these both. There's several I like, but I just got this from Jim Rickards. I think I'll go with this one from Byron King. It's a bit longer, but I used to subscribe to Byron King. I met him. He's a geologist. He's an oil geologist, but I guess geology can be anything. And the title of his article is what I think is going to happen. And this is going to be one of the real reasons to start shifting maybe some of your profits into the metals, miners. I think the United States is going to be reindustrialized. If it's not the United States, it may just be North America. But anyway, this month he's going to expand on the recent Supreme Court case. Well, two of them, Loper Bright Enterprises versus Raimondo, but more importantly, the Chevron doctrine, which if you listen to Junk Savvy ever, she had a great discussion about that, spanning, well, it was in one space call, but it spanned over many others, the discussion. But the new law of the land, they overturned the Chevron doctrine. Is the new law is that the federal courts no longer need to defer to determinations by government agencies when the courts interpret ambiguous statutes. This matters to investors. It's fair to say that the Supreme Court just pulled a big rug out from under the feet of the bureaucratic state. What was the Chevron doctrine? Obviously, the Chevron doctrine concerned the oil company Chevron. In the early 1980s, Chevron found itself in a regulatory dispute with the EPA over the Clean Air Act. The question was, what did Congress mean when it used the word sources in terms of air emissions? Is an air emission source as small as, say, the tailpipe of a truck? Does it include gases which might leak from an oil well or from a pipeline? Or is the EPA's definition wider? The cumulative emissions of an oil refinery. If you're Chevron and you run oil wells, pipelines, refineries, then you just want your overall operations to be one big source of air emissions, or at least have it looked upon as a plant by plant item. So Chevron said that the EPA should look at the overall industrial scale build out and its cumulative emissions. Chevron didn't want regulators micromanaging every valve everywhere. The other end of that argument was that everything should be controlled down to every last ventilation duct. So to make it a short story, Chevron and the EPA agreed to regulate emissions from major operations like refineries as a single source. This result gave Chevron much more flexibility to run its facilities. And then he talks about the Natural Resource Defense Council. And they brought a case, and it's an environmental group. So Chevron petitioned for review by the Supreme Court. And the outcome was unanimous to overturn the lower court's decision. It is in 1984, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Chevron by a vote of 6-0. In essence, the Supreme Court held that the trial court should have deferred to the EPA's approach regarding regulation of Chevron's facilities. Per the court, the EPA is home to an organizational body of knowledge and expertise. I'm skipping over some of this. All right, let's just skip 7 paragraphs. Now that the Chevron doctrine is no more, Justice Roberts wrote the majority opinion. He explained that the Chevron defense is inconsistent with the Administrative Procedure Act. Wow. Let's just skip all of this. In dissent, Justice Elena Kagan was critical of the majority. She correctly pointed out that Congress often enacts regulatory laws which contain ambiguities and gaps that agencies must interpret. All right, finally, let's just go down to reindustrializing a deindustrialized America, which is the whole point I want to get across. So Byron King is saying that the Chevron doctrine, which has been out there for 40 years, may be part of the reason for what's happened in the United States industrial world over the last 40 years. He says, I'm reading from his article, America's long-term deindustrialization proceeded apace across time and across half of the North American continent, with the rise of massively empowered regulatory elements of the federal government. And per Chevron, when bureaucrats regulate things out of existence, there's essentially no recourse to the courts. Sure, you can go to the courts, but you're likely to lose. The historic decline of many historically significant U.S. industrial sectors has many causes. In general, the United States is a high-cost place to operate. Expensive land, labor, energy, construction, insurance, taxes, litigation, and regulation. If you seek to understand deindustrialization, begin with the fact that it's often just easier to do business elsewhere, such as Mexico, China, Vietnam, and many other nations who welcome new investment. America is a NIMBY kind of, not in my backyard kind of place. Still, it's not unfair to mention some examples and ask, what happened to America's shipbuilding industry, or its consumer electronics industry, or its textiles and clothing industries, or furniture, or what happened to large swaths of the country's mines, mills, metal smelting, and refining industries? Of course, every industrial story is different, but it's not difficult to find tales of mine, mill, factory closings, plant shutdowns based on, say, EPA regulations under the Clean Air Act, or a myriad of other regulations pertinent to clean water, solid waste disposal, and much, much more. There's a reason that one of the world's largest zinc mines, Red Dog in Alaska, run by Tech Inc., that's a bad sentence. I'll just read the sentence as it is. I can't make sense out of it. There's a reason, for example, that one of the world's largest zinc mines is in the United States, called Red Dog in Alaska, run by Tech Inc., but all of that zinc ore output goes to Asia for refining. That makes sense. I just misread it. There's but one zinc smelter anywhere else in America. It's a medium plant owned by Nyerstar in Clarksville, Tennessee. Or consider how in 2023, one of the largest proposed copper nickel projects in the United States, located in Minnesota, was summarily put on hold for 20 years by the Department of Interior. Or consider in 23 the federal denial of a road permit to Trilogy Metals in Alaska, 250 miles west of Fairbanks. And it goes on to complain about the Biden administration. But let's remember, the American industrial decline is not a recent phenomenon. It's been going on for 40 years. That, to me, that my explanation for that has been the financialization of America and the fact that students go into finance because they want a job at Goldman Sachs. They don't go into the industrial heartland. And also, we started selling our shipping, exporting our technologies, our patents, our pollution to China, while people on Wall Street got rich. But he's saying that the American industrial decline has been ongoing for 40 years, about since the days of the Chevron doctrine. One might say it takes a while to strangle a vast industrial economy by bureaucrats. But with regulatory bureaucrats, as with life, the proverbial, quote, little train that could, persistence, pays off. Consider the domestic rare earth industry. That's interesting, by the way. I learned a lot about our rare earth industry last week. An example of long-term industrial sandbagging by bureaucrats. It began as an outgrowth of U.S. nuclear efforts from World War II. Commercial output of rare earths was pioneered in the United States in the 40s and 50s and grew well into the 80s and 90s. Back in the 50s, with the old Molybdenum Corporation of America, Molycorp, mined and processed rare earth minerals in California. Over time, Molycorp was acquired by Union 76, later acquired by Chevron. Along the way, Union ceased rare earths operations in California because of environmental regulations, which drove costs out of sight. After Chevron bought Union, the new owner spun the rare earth asset off to get rid of the headache. Government mandates, this is his opinion, drove up costs to where even two cash-rich oil companies made the call to close down operations and walk away. Meanwhile, far-sighted Chinese companies seized the global rare earth market, and in fact, China dominates global rare earth supply chains with about 95% of the world's total output. That's going to fade away. The United States is going to, I don't know how quickly, but it's going to put waste to that monopoly. Where do we go from here? So anyway, his point is a lot of what's happened is because of the Chevron decision 40 years ago. And now this is a big change that's occurred now. So where do we go from here? If the United States wishes to remain a wealthy, wealth-creating, value-adding industrial power and not backslide into global second-rate status, the United States must rebuild vast amounts of infrastructure and basic industry and do it on a massive continental scale. That's what I wanted to see him say. That means commodities. That means all metals. And the country must do this while protecting old and new firms against being smothered by low-cost imports. I've named several ideas that should do well in the coming years. All right, I'll give you his ideas. I don't know anything about this company, but I'll study it. He recommends Energy Fuels Inc. The symbol is UUUU. It's a metal producer in Utah, and that's U as in Utah. Energy Fuels produces uranium yellowcake from ore and is the key player in domestic energy. It also produces vanadium metal, a steel alloy agent. and also used in battery systems. Energy Fuels also just announced successful completion to recover rare earths from ore, and it's the only American company with that capability. That's U. His next name is Contango Ore. Contango Ore. And the symbol is CTGO. CTGO. A gold miner in Alaska. Contango Ore has been mining gold ore all winter and spring, and it sends the ore to stockpile at Fort Knox mine near Fairbanks, Alaska. That mine is owned by Kinross, which is a good company too. Kinross began to process this ore, and recently in July, Kinross poured the first gold bar. So Contango ore is actually in the gold production business, and it generates cash flow. I expect a market upgrade as the summer unfolds and larger investors begin to move in. Finally, looking at offshore drilling plays, certainly in the event that Donald Trump were to win the election, I like Transocean rig. I like Transocean. I think that was one of my favorite stocks for years for conservative investors. The symbol is RIG. It has a large fleet of drill ships and crews. He also has been impressed with Oceaneering International, another company I like. OII is the symbol, a service provider to offshore developers. Share prices of both companies, RIG and OII, are already moving up as investors realize how these firms will benefit from a more petroleum-friendly administration. He's not making an official recommendation, but I like those names. That's a pretty good quote. Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov, better known to the world as Lenin, once said, quote, "There are decades where nothing happens, and then there are weeks where decades happen." That's what I've said it differently. Life, to me, when I give advice to other people, life moves in these quantum leaps. And even if you're going through a bad time, you have to make sure you enjoy it, because all of a sudden your life is going to change and you'll never be back where you were. All right, I'm not going to read this article, but I love the headline. I'll read it tomorrow or the next day. Profit when American energy is unburdened by what has been. But it's a long article. I won't read it. But his biggest play, biggest recommendation, and it involves also AI technology in the oil area, is Schlumberger, another great company, SLB. We'll talk about all of that tomorrow. It's 2:11. I have no idea where GDC's trading. I can't see it. All right, so Kit Kitteridge points out that Univest worked with TOP, WTOP, and the squeeze started at 1400 and rocketed to 255. So it's an FYI iMessage. But that's very interesting. I didn't know that. I looked at top. I should have printed it out, and HKD. So I guess you're saying it might be similar with GDC. I have no way of knowing. It's 614. That's very interesting, Kit. Very interesting. And hi, Jenny L. Ham spoke very highly of you to me last night or this morning. And it went up on no news. Yeah, I get a little bit, I think I go overboard sometimes, but I don't think news is the trigger for anything unless it's just so massive and unexpected, like Robert F. Kennedy stops campaigning and supports Donald Trump, something big like that. Earth shattering. It's been an earth shattering experience for me, so. All right. I didn't really, I've got to check a delivery possibly tomorrow. My service will be better. I think I have to find out what happened to my Verizon. It may be that the payments, I was traveling, so maybe the debit came when, I don't know. I just got to find out. I can't give you any quotes, so that's frustrating. I will quickly look and see. I will quickly look and see. Yeah, here we go. And it went to men's singles. Perfect. So I don't know. Grenier Kruger doesn't mean anything. Stricker, Kamensina, same thing. Those are both in the fourth sets. Shelton beat Dominic Thiem, which was totally predictable. 6-4, 6-2, 6-2. Taylor Fritz just started. Rublev just started, and it looks like he's going to win the first set anyway. Poprin, that's the one. Poprin is beating SW Kwan 7-5, and now they're winning by a break in the second set. I think that guy is a huge risk to Djokovic. Everyone thinks Djokovic got a good draw. I don't think so. Rude looks to be beating Uchikote 7-6, and now it's 5-1 in the second set. Berrettini has his match with A. Ramos Vinolas well in hand. Bublik is in a fricker. It's 6-4, 6. From Bublik's standpoint, it's 4-6, 6-3, 7-5, 3-6, and now tied at 1-all in the fifth. J.C. Shang is playing him. Bautista is beating Nardi. It looks like a great match. 7-5, 7-6, and now it's 6-6 in the third set. Wow, that would be fun to watch. It looks like a Spaniard is beating a Brit. Kruger is beating Grenier. And here's the finals. Kamsana beat Stricker. Shelton beat Thiem. Zverev beat Martyrer, but he needed 4 sets to do it. Wow. Wow. Humbert beat Monteiro. And that's it so far. So no great upsets. Djokovic plays tonight. All right, everybody. I'm going to sign out. I'm going to go see if I got my delivery. I appreciate everybody tuning in, turning off, tuning in, tuning out. I don't know. It wasn't my generation that tuned in and then tuned out, turned on and tuned out, something like that. So we'll, yeah, Jenny, I'm glad you're well. I hope your little moose is doing well. Little moose. Anyway, I'm going to go check my deliveries and try to get a few things done. I don't feel prepared to stay on until the close, so I hope you'll excuse me for that. We will see each other tomorrow, and if Kitteridge is correct, it's 1400 hours right now. I can't watch GDC for some reason. Oh no, it's working now. Wow, it's working. 625 to 630, and the volume is just not there. But if Kitteridge is correct, maybe that'll start to go. And then look out for logic, 0.0218, 0.022. Look out for that one. I want to do a video on CAUD. It's at 44 cents because the CEO did not do a reverse split. He had the courage to just go over to the over-the-counter markets. I think that says a lot about him. A lot about him. A lot about him. Moose. Moose, I used to know a moose who was what are those dogs called? Something mountain dog? She's just massive dog. Your moose is very small. Albert, thanks for stopping by. All I can say, if you are long GTII, if you take your money that seriously, that you're going to throw out an idiot question like that after we've been talking about it for weeks and months, if that's all the seriousness you put towards your portfolio, I can't help you. So anyway, peace, love, happiness to everyone, and pray for peace for the children in Lebanon, Gaza, and Israel, and the Ukraine. Let's pray for the children. Pray they're safe. So we'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.